One of these days I'll start editing the start of this where I won't be walking into the scene. And of course, in order to keep this around 10 minutes or so, I've got a clock. And if you can tell, I don't care what time it is. Anyway, I'm late. Whatever, I'm late anyway. Well, I guess it'd help if I'd take the pick out of the strings. I finally got swapped back over to a light, thin pick, which I think is going to help. And I worked for 3 years just to be able to do this. For most people, a change from a C to a D is no big deal, or a D to a, or a G to a D is no big deal. But for me, it was like climbing Mount Everest and planting my flag on top of it last night. First time in 3 years I've been able to do that. I couldn't make a D chord. My fingers wouldn't work. So, I mean, I got so happy last night, my eyes started sweating. Of course, you know a guy don't cry. His eyes sweat. But just to be able to do that, after suffering what I did, and I can change, especially the C to a D was impossible for me. And G to a D was so bad that it sounded awful. I couldn't get these fingers to tuck like that. I had to, that's all I could do like that to make anywhere near a D. And I couldn't do that at all. I mean, there was no way I could even hit a note. I've still not got it back like it ought to be, where it's perfect and never miss a note. I still have trouble with that hand trying to go somewhere else other than where it ought to, but hey, I can live with this. And it'll get better. It's just like last night. I was on top of Mount Everest. And to be able to make clear chords. Now on electric I could still but on electric you've got the electric that covers a myriad of mistakes, but on acoustic, nothing covers you. That's the reason rock musicians that started off as bluegrass artists can play so good, because they learned on a flat top or a banjo or a mandolin, and if you make mistakes, it stands out. And I got a little story to tell you. This is one that I came up with the other day when I was down there working in the weeds, and I was covered up in chiggers. I must have had 2,000 chiggers on me. And I came up to the house. I was afraid to even come in with my clothes and get them scattered all over the house. Well, I got out a big bottle of alcohol, and I just started dousing myself from head to foot with alcohol. Well, them chiggers started getting drunk, and they started staggering off of me, and I opened the door and they all staggered out. And this is how auto-tune was invented. I guarantee you the guy must have gotten into a mess of chiggers. Well, all these drunk chiggers started staggering off back down to the tall weeds and started singing. I've never heard such a horrible sound in all my life. And that had to have been what the guy that invented auto-tune did. He got to hearing them chiggers sing, and he had to do something to cover that noise. It was awful. Never heard a noise like that. And they kept it up all night long. I couldn't sleep. Now you think about 2,000 or 3,000 chiggers singing off key, every one of them. And that's how auto-tune came about. You don't believe it? Just ask me. All the improvement just to be able to change a chord like that and being able to make a good chord. Because going from a C to a D is mighty tough. Chord change. Looks simple, but you're having to go from fingers lined up like this to fingers swapping like that. And all I could do when I first started back trying to play was, that's all I could do. I had to push down on top of that finger. I couldn't reach and pick up a book with one hand. I had to reach and get it with both hands and try to cradle it and get it up into my hand. But I was so weak, I wasn't able to hardly pick up 50-pound bags of feed. I had to hug them like a pillow to my chest and get them up over the feed bin and unzip the top and dump it over in it and sometimes spill half of it. But it's been a real struggle. And I thought it'd only been 2 years, but I got to going back and looking, and it was 3 years ago that I drank the poison water and it almost killed me. But it burned my esophagus, my whole mouth, and some of that from time to time comes back, which I've got a little thickness of the tongue tonight. But the thing about it, I could sing when I couldn't talk. You could barely understand what I was saying, but I could sing and it was just as clear as it could be. Sort of like Mel Tillis with his stutter. But that was the only way I could communicate, was sort of halfway sing what I was talking about. But to be able to get to a D chord, nothing like that. When you weren't able to do it at all. When you couldn't even make a chord to begin with. And I could pick any song. I could walk right in, listen to a song one time and start right out and pick it. There's several other people in the music world that can do that. But it gave me an advantage over people, and I was able to play with anybody. I could play any style. I played anything from hard acid rock to bluegrass to classical music. I played a classical guitar with the 4-finger picking, and did a lot of 3-finger guitar picking. But you don't know how happy that made me, just being able to do that. So simple, but it was a mountain for me. And now I know I will be able to get back. I've had to be harder on this side here because of that jump, which causes me to miss the whole string. So I know I'll be able to start making progress now, but doing strumming, it's so jerky and jumping. I tried tonight to play rhythm on some mandolin tunes, and I couldn't do it because the jerk is too much in the thumb. But anybody that's had stroke or nerve damage, physical damage to their hands, if you just keep working at it, you'll get it back. The guy I was talking about in the banjo video I was doing about getting his arms cut up, and